And welcome inside the backstage pass. It is Friday, August the 19th of the good year of 2022. Looking forward to, I guess, the next few weeks with football season underway. I don't know if you about you guys, but I was catching some preseason football last night with the Seattle Seahawks and the Chicago Bears. So definitely looking forward to that. College season and of course the NFL coming up here in just a few weeks, and our high school football season coming up August 26th next week. It's going to be the Vider Pirates and Silsby Tigers. You can catch it on CajunCountryRadio.com, and be sure and check that out if you're a high school football fan, especially in Southeast Texas. Brandon Morrell here, flying solo on the Backstage Pass live on the YouTube channel and at the Sports Guys podcast.com. We always keep our shows definitely archived there. Pleased to welcome in an artist I've loved ever since we've met since day one, and she's coming back with a full-length album that came out August the 12th. Sykamore joins us back here on the Backstage Pass. How we doing?
Good. How are you doing?
It's been good. Like I said, a little bit of rain these last couple of days. We've been in a little drought here in Texas, but we got much needed showers, and we're doing good. And definitely, like I said, just look it up. It's the weekend. I always say the weekend's a good time just to enjoy yourself. So I'm looking around the corner, ready to enjoy myself again. Hey, let's get right at it. And you're going to play one for us off the latest album. Take me through it. I mean, you guys had so many great songs out before this full-length 12-song album, Pinto, has come out across all the digital platforms. Tell me about everything, man. Just the songs that you guys had out before that you guys were looking at Cheap Thrills and all the California King, and now put together a collection of songs on a fantastic album that I know you have to be very proud of.
Yeah, it's been a long road to hoe. Honestly, we were supposed to put this out in 2020, and then a bunch of stuff happened in 2020, and we decided to ultimately just wait until we could possibly tour it or just meet people in person. And so it's been, my fear was that by waiting, that maybe by the time the songs came out, that it would be maybe a little bit stale or a little bit played. But honestly, I feel like it's more relevant now just because there's so much 80s pop influence on this record, and I feel like 80s pop has really exploded in the last couple years, and so it feels in a weird way like more relevant than maybe it would have been in 2020. So maybe it was all meant to be, but it feels great to actually have the whole thing out, because we rolled it out in kind of pieces, right? Like it took about 2 years to get the whole thing out, but now people can listen to it as a whole body of work, which is so exciting. And so, yeah, it's such a relief to get everything out finally.
Take me through kind of the making of some of the songs off of there too, and I thought they were just really good, really hit home, really told a lot of great stories from some of the ones that we had talked about before, such as Stay Broke and California King, and of course Pinto being the title track of the album. Cheap Thrills, you guys have put that out as a single before, so some of those great songs that you'd put out as singles coming back on a full-length record. And then take me through the making of some of the songs and the recording process in the studio.
Yeah, so a lot of them were written sort of in like 2018-ish. We started cutting in 2019. And it's what I like to tell people is ultimately, so I'm from Canada originally, and I moved to Nashville at the end of 2017. And I was writing, I got my first songwriter deal. And so I was writing every day almost. And so this Pinto sort of started around, like writing for this project started around the same time I moved to Nashville. And so it's sort of my almost like photo album of just like starting my time here in Nashville and moving all the way to now. And so I feel like it reflects sort of how I've grown as a songwriter since my last EP. It was called Self Medicine, and that came out in 2018. And those were songs that I've written in probably like 2015, 2016. And so like, when I started writing Pinto, I wanted there to be a tangible departure. I wanted people to be able to hear the difference in my artistry and in my songwriting. And I didn't want it to sound like Self Medicine 2.0. And so the first song we wrote was Pinto, or I guess I wrote Pinto by myself. And then I got this real burst of inspiration from writing that, and it kind of became the centerpiece for the whole album. And I started keeping all these themes in mind and soundscapes that I wanted to include. And it ended up being this really kind of cohesive, almost concept album about kind of young love and how it can be very exciting and very emotionally dangerous at the same time, like the Ford Pinto. So all came together.
It sure did too. A great collection of songs. Speaking of self medicine, you guys really I go back to that one too because very different albums. If folks listen to them out there too, from the two different styles you put out there, still great country music, but there's some crossover in that you can kind of feel a little bit of country and a little bit of some other different genres of music out there. But one in particular, several actually a couple in particular that really took me back from self medicine when you guys led it off. We Were All Right was the first. I guess the first song you guys led off that album with, and then Houseboat. I'm going to go through that one. Let's start with Houseboat right there. I thought that was a fantastic song, kind of just fun loving, enjoying yourself. Takes me through a summertime feel of things. And then we were all right. Was how you guys led off that album. Tell us about the making of those two.
Well, so Self Medicine came together not really at all the same way that Pinto did. Self Medicine was a collection of sort of individual recording processes, kind of song to song. We did a couple all together. We actually came to Nashville and cut, 4 or 5. I don't know if all of them made the record, but it was a lot more drawn out in terms of just like how many sessions we had and the years between me writing all the songs. But yeah, a lot of the Self Medicine songs, probably one of the biggest difference between that EP and this album is I had more co-writers on this album. And so I think there's more collaboration on Self Medicine. I think all but one of them are written entirely by me. And so it's fun to see just how much more you can achieve when you get a couple more minds in the song and they can kind of help you flesh out maybe some of your ideas, or if you're kind of bored of yourself, you can kind of get inspired by somebody else, or maybe they can get inspired by you, and you can just kind of have this great little collab session. And so yeah, I think Self Medicine was still a little bit kind of almost like DIY style, like we were on kind of a lower budget and just trying to string something together. But then putting Pinto together, we were in a legit studio with like a whole, we cut everything, the drums and everything are live off the floor. And so it was just kind of like the next step in production, I guess. And so it's just cool to see that gradual organic process as that happens for musicians. So I love both projects, but yeah, it's really interesting to see how different they can both come together.
Well, I know you're going to play one for us. In fact, the title track off the album, Pinto, that very song here on the Backstage Pass. So I'll let you grab that guitar and, of course, perform for us here on the show. Again, if you guys want to check it out, you can do that wherever you guys stream music. The song is called Pinto. It is Sykamore here on the Backstage Pass live on the YouTube channel and, of course, at the sportsguys podcast.com. And definitely some exciting shows coming up over the next few weeks. So stay tuned to that. It is all yours, my friend. Go right ahead.
All right, let's go. You pull up to the drive in your Pinto, ready to cruise. You got it from your old man, 2-door 72. I'm leaving in the fall, want you alone, so don't take me home. Wherever we go, as long as we got road, baby, I'm down to fly. You get me so high when I see my life through the window. Whenever we collide, feel the sparks fly. There's a fire in the engine tonight, yeah. Boy, I want you alone, so don't take me home. Wherever we go, as long as we go road, baby, I'm down to fly. You get me so high when I see my life through the window of your Pinto. Ooh, ooh, of your Pinto. Ooh, ooh.
I love Sykamore, no doubt about that. Here on the Backstage Pass, it is definitely one of my most favorite songs. I stream a lot since the album came out August 12th. The title track to the album, Pinto. Make sure you guys go check that out. Back here, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey, MitchMax.com, and Hank Jr. Productions. We'll get a word in from our sponsors here in just a little bit here. I got to ask you about that one because it just has an easy feel to it. And I love songs that come together. Was that a quick write? Did that one just kind of born out of nothing? You had an idea and it just kind of wrote itself pretty fast?
Yeah, pretty much. I was living in, there's a awesome Canadian artist who lives here in Nashville named Carolyn Dawn Johnson, and I was living in her pool house at the time, or she has this like coach house behind her house, and that's where I was living at the time. And I was just home alone, and might have been like a weekend, and I had nothing to do, and I had the Pinto idea, the idea for the title, but I didn't really know what was going to happen with it. And I just sat on my bed and wrote it on this guitar, actually.
Wow.
And it was, the cool thing about that one was I knew, even though I wrote it acoustic, I knew how I wanted it to sound produced. And so I took it to a guy who's now a really close friend and collaborator. We didn't know each other that well at the time, but I knew he was the guy I wanted to do this song, and I was like, this is how I want it to sound. And he kind of picked up my vibe. I just played it for him acoustic, and I was like, I really want like some Juno synthesizer on here. Like I want to really 80s it up. And he knew exactly what I meant. And we made this demo, and it sounds a lot like the song you hear on the record. So that was a really exciting one.
It really does. Very identical, and you put your own very good spin on it too. Hey, I love making new fans on this show, and I tell you, Don always appreciate what he does, what he tunes into. So I always put this up there, and definitely that's you can't beat that. That's why we do what we do here on the show. So there you go. Before you come on here, he goes and gets the albums on your website. So Don, 100% right there. It's why we do what we do here on this Backstage Pass here on the show. It is, and it's a good day. It's Friday, no doubt about it. We'll get a quick word in for our sponsors. Come back here more with Sykamore here. About 15 minutes or so left. We'll still do rapid fire, and of course, I'm going to check on a couple of the songs as we get ready for our countdown to kickoff coming up August 26th. Not sure where it's going to be at. It's going to be playing Silsbee. We know that. Silsbee Tigers, Divider Pirates, CajunCountryRadio.com. Yours truly, Robbie Lane, and our good friend Kevin Percato gets us on the air, makes us sound good. We'll be broadcasting high school football game 1 of the 2022 season coming up. All the full broadcast. Excited about that, and excited to be partnering with those guys for the 2022 high school football season. Also coming up here in a couple of weeks, Megan Patrick on the show, another fantastic Canadian country artist. And if you remember the 90s, Chris Cagle is coming by here on the Backstage Pass. He did a big song called I Breathe In, I Breathe Out, which was #1 for him back in the early, I should say the 90s, I should say. So a lot to look forward to coming up here. We got more with Sykamore. We're going to take a timeout, a word for Bangtail Whiskey and our sponsors. Stay tuned for more.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show again, of course, that is our time, Monday through Friday. Of course, it's going to be Monday through Thursday coming up here over the next few weeks. About 4 o'clock Central Time. We'll be on here at the SportsGuysPodcast.com and, of course, the YouTube channel and TikTok, wherever else you can find us out there. Go subscribe, go like us. Everybody likes to be liked on social media, including our guest and definitely a feature artist of the day, Sykamore, here on the Backstage Pass. Definitely the album is fantastic. She played Pinto for us, which is the title of that album. So make sure you guys go check that out if you haven't already. Or if you're like Don, go to the website and get you both albums sent directly to your door there through some online shopping. Because like I said, always love when artists stop by here. I got to ask you about this one just for July, just the number 4 for July. The second song on that album, too. I thought that was another way to continue that great style of country music. And like you said, a little bit of everything on this album to where you got what you're looking for. Because I really feel that 80s, 90s kind of vibe coming with this. You guys did a really great job on the production side.
Thank you. Yeah, that one was probably one of the earlier ones that I wrote for the album. And I just moved to town, and it was me and 2 really awesome but young writers. And I say that because, there was no seniority in the room. It was the 3 of us were all relatively the same age. And we kind of we didn't have a ton of parameters we wanted to put on the song. We just wanted to let it be what it should be. And, and to their credit, they sort of followed me down this sort of more poppy, more wordy kind of a song. Just, they followed me down that road, and it ended up just being, really pop heavy and kind of weird in spots. Like it's some unique markers on the song where the intro is really like, there's this big backwards vocal intro. That's actually my vocal flipped around. So it's playing backwards, and then it's slammed with a bunch of reverb. And that's how the song opens. And so it's kind of quirky. And I think it's that's what makes it a little bit special. And I think that's what makes it stand out a little bit, is it's just sort of very unapologetically what it wants to be. And I think that's the only way you should really make music, is just don't mess with it. If it sounds good, feels good, don't overthink it.
And it feels good, just let it ride. That's what I say too. And you remind me so much of one of my favorite artists out there, and haven't had her here on the program, but she just remind me of the style that you have and putting out the great music that you do. Colby Calais, I've loved her music and loved her as an artist for a long, long time. So I had to throw compliments to you, because you just let the song ride, let it feel good, and it's just raw talent. And you have tremendous raw talent out there. You guys did something very special in 2020. I know we talked about it here on the show, but for the viewers and listeners that didn't get to hear it on the audio side or the video side out there, y'all did some really cool things with California King, which is, I know this on this record, Pinto here. That EP came out with Record High, which did a lot of cool things for you guys on a number of different platforms. Just remind the folks a little bit of the making of California King and another great 5-song EP y'all put together.
Thank you. Yeah. California King it was sort of formulated when we still thought the whole record was going to come out later that year. And so it was supposed to be kind of just an introduction to me kind of in the American market, because I really, was still pretty new here. And so the goal with that was to kind of try to show all the different sides of the songs and the music, because I think it's a little bit 3-dimensional. And so California King, I pushed to sort of make that the title, and in some ways sort of the focus, because of how cheeky it is. And it's, a little bit tongue in cheek, and it's not super dressed up in terms of production. And that, for me, the lyric and the wit, I think that's one of my favorite things about anybody's songwriting. So I really wanted that to kind of shine through with that song. And it's actually me playing guitar on that, which has not happened really ever other than that. But like, it was such a weird, quirky guitar part that I did in our demo that everybody ultimately was like, why don't you just do it? Because it's supposed to be kind of janky and like not good in a way. So they're like, why don't you just play it? And it worked out. But it's just such a fun little moment on the record as far as, you know, opportunities for me to jump on cool things, like doubling up my vocal in that way and kind of having it all sound a little bit skewed and almost sloppy in places. I think it ended up just being this really sort of cheeky, kind of witty stop on the record.
Yeah, and the song really, to me, the song really stuck out, made people kind of, you know, feel something too. If you've kind of understand what California King and the message it starts to send with people resonate for it. Was that one of your writes? Was that a co-write? Was that did that come just naturally?
Yeah, I think how it worked was I wrote it with 2 other great Nashville writers, and I had this title called California King. And I think I kind of, it's not like an actual phrase that people use, but I was like, what if in this world, a California King is a guy that's just like really into himself and thinks all the girls want to be with him and thinks everyone's lucky to be in his presence when really like he just needs a reality check. And they, to their credit, kind of followed me into that, and we sort of built this kind of "You're So Vain"-esque song. And some people ask me sometimes if it's about anyone in particular in my life, and it's not. It's just everybody's got someone in their life that's like that, you know. And so I'm like, we can all think of the California King in our lives, and that's who it's about.
I loved another one you put out 2020. You were busy there. Of course, I know that you were mentioning the album was still kind of taking place, and nobody knew what was going to happen with all the pandemic we were in at the time. And of course, that was the worst time of these last 2 or 3 years that we've been in. But you had a little fun with one called "What Are You Doing New Year's Eve?" Tell us all about that one.
Yeah, I can't take credit for writing that one, and if I'm being honest, I don't think I can remember the original writer's name, but I've heard other people do it for years. And I particularly really like a version that Zoe Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt did. And I think it like years and years ago, it kind of went viral on YouTube. And that's when I first saw it. And it's just the 2 of them playing a nylon string acoustic and a ukulele. And it's just so simple and pretty. And so when it came time, I kind of had the opportunity to cut a Christmas song, and I was like, well, I don't want to do one that like everybody's doing, right? Like I wanted, and it's so hard to find a Christmas carol that hasn't been done a million times. And so I was like, well, what about New Year's Eve? Like I know a handful of artists have done it, but not a ton. And so I pulled this arrangement up on YouTube, and I was like, what if we just did it very very bare bones, and ended up just kind of turning out really simple and pretty. And yeah, it got that Christmas, it got a pretty decent reaction. It got quite a few streams in the months that it was relevant. And yeah, it's a great one to, I don't know that I've ever sang it live, actually. I haven't really had the chance, but maybe someday when we're touring around Christmas, I would love to.
That'd be a perfect one to pull out of the bag too. 2021, you stayed busy there with "Go Easy on Me." I kept all this. People say, "How do you do so much branding with the songs? You just put them on a playlist and you listen to them all the time." Music that you love so much. I love learning about new artists, and that's why I do this program. "Go Easy on Me" was that one that kind of also kind of felt good, came naturally, and you guys were pushing the radio?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think. I think it was one of the older ones that we played or that we were writing. And what was so special to me about that one was I wrote it with one of my songwriting heroes, Liz Rose. And she, if you don't know Liz Rose, she wrote with like Taylor Swift's, like a ton of her early catalog is all Liz Rose. And so she was on my list of writers that I really wanted to write with when I got to Nashville, and I got the chance. And I think kind of clicked immediately. And I had this idea for a title called "Go Easy on Me." And it was, I was saving it for Liz, kind of, because she's so good at writing vulnerable lyrics. And this was the idea I had for this was so vulnerable. And I wanted it to be from the perspective of somebody who just broken up, and the person they used to be with is now moving on, and they're just not quite ready to see it. And I really wanted it to be this kind of like, I know you've moved on, but maybe don't rub my nose in it just yet. Like maybe lie to me and tell me you're still single until I can get it figured out. And yeah, like I knew Liz would be perfect to pair up and write this with, and she dug the idea, and we just kind of went for it. And we're both big fans of 70s, Fleetwood Mac and Joni Mitchell, and so we really wanted that to sort of reflect in Go Easy, and it ended up being just a really easy listen. A lot of fun vocal parts, which I love to do. I love to do my own harmonies, and I do a ton of that on this track. So I think it's one of my favorites, honestly.
And your harmonies are fantastic. I mean, spot on. I love that the fact that you do your own stuff there, and it just sounds just like Pinto. It sounds so good when you put your vocals to songs. I love your music so much. Well, I know I would have you play one more for us. I love your music. Cannot wait to get to a concert one of these days to get back to Nashville. Would you like to play one more for us? What do you think? Okay,
yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do. Maybe I'll do Wallflower, because that one.
Let's do it.
That's one that came out the same day as Pinto, and so I haven't had a chance to talk about it. But yeah, let's do that one. Wallflower. My heart is like a dance floor. You can see it when the lights come on. It's just bookmarks and cigarettes and bottles with the labels on. I never meant to tear it up. I let the good times roll too long. I'm a sucker for the night, a stranger and the perfect song. Damn, I wouldn't be so empty if I just had a dancer. Tell me where you are, baby. Wallflower, get out on the floor and move your feet. Make a little sense out of me. Spin me slow and hold me tight, 'cause everything glows in neon light. I wouldn't be so empty if I just had a dancer. Tell me where you are, baby. Wallflower. I thought I saw you in the shadow. You were hiding in the exit light, but all that red can't hide your blue eyes. Now I'm not asking for forever. I just wanna make somebody smile. Just stay here and sway here with me for a little while. And damn, I wouldn't be so empty if I just had a dancer. Tell me where you are, baby. Wallflower, get out on the floor and move your feet. Make a little sense out of me. Spin me slow and hold me tight, 'cause everything glows in neon light. I wouldn't be so empty if I just had a dancer. Tell me where you are, baby. Wallflower. Damn, I wouldn't be so empty if I just had a dancer. Tell me where you are, baby. Wallflower, get out on the floor and move your feet. Make a little sense out of me. Spin me slow and hold me tight, 'cause everything glows in neon light. I wouldn't be so empty if I just had a dancer. Tell me where you are, baby. Wallflower. Wallflower. Wallflower.
I love it. I'm going to get to a show, no doubt. Get my tickets and please get back to Nashville. It's so easy. It's flawless the way you make it sound. It's beautiful. Love the harmonies, love the songs, and it's just been a great collection of work. It's so good to see you again back here on the show, and of course all those great songs you put out the previous years during the pandemic. I love that you guys stuck around. They did so well. You pushed them out hard, and you guys put them on the full length album, which is called Pinto, out there across the great digital platforms. You guys can go check it out, stream music wherever you stream. There was another one on there that I love so much, and I think you guys put it out as a previous single before including it on the record, Pinto, Dancing in the Dark. Tell me all about that one a little bit too.
Yeah, that's another one that was kind of early on in the writing process. And I wrote it with a great writer named Ben Johnson here in Nashville. And that was another one that we didn't want to overthink too much. And it was really poppy. And we were like, that's okay. Like the demo ended up being a little more cute than what you hear on the album. And we were really melody heavy with it. We wanted to just have it be a feel-good song about not looking too far into the future, just enjoying the moment and just kind of embracing the uncertainty of the present moment and dancing in the dark, as it were. And when we brought it to studio, Michael Knox, my producer, he had a bit more of a vision for this song to kind of punch and like hit hard in the chorus. And we ended up kind of building and structuring around that, and it ended up sort of having a bit of some power to it. And I think it sounds great now. It's got a real lift to it, and so it had a bit of a transformation from its original inception, but I think it still sounds baller.
It's all in, no doubt about it. You guys are great. Michael Knox, a great producer, and working with some great people there in Nashville, no doubt too. All right, I got to have a little fun, throw a little rapid fire at you here, which is cool. And I always say it's called rapid fire, but if it takes some time to have some thought in it, it'll just be think fire. So think and then fire away once you think about the thought there. So the title could be different from sometimes because people say it's not so rapid. It takes some time to think. All right, latest, I guess, food and drink. What have you gotten into lately that's either you're cooking it or you're getting it for takeout?
I've been going to Panera a lot for some reason. They have Panera in Texas, right?
They do.
They have this barbecue chicken sandwich. It's like this smokehouse sandwich, and I've been having that like every day. So we've been playing some shows, and we were on a little tour last week, and we kept stopping at Panera, and I think that's kind of like kick-started my like, oh yeah, this sandwich is really good. And so been doing that. And all summer I've really been into watermelon juice, which I didn't actually know was something you could buy. But I got into, I've been just eating a lot of watermelon, and then I started looking around, and they actually sell it at Kroger, just straight up juice.
Yep.
That's been my beverage of choice all summer.
That's been one of my favorite. Yes, if I'm going to pick a fruit out there to enjoy, we had our fair share of watermelon at a few barbecues that we did as a family over the summer, and definitely it's one of the best fruits you can have. They're very good for you in a lot of different areas too. Yeah,
it's true.
It's good stuff. I can't wait. And the juice I'm gonna have to try though, because I've done some smoothies and stuff like that that my wife has made before, but definitely I'm gonna try. I've got a Kroger here too in Texas. We'll definitely have to try the juice out there too. So which will be great. Let me ask you this one too. Favorite stage you've stepped on? I know you've done some pretty amazing performances at some of the venues. What's your favorite one to go to?
I got to sing. I didn't get to do a whole set, but where I'm from in Calgary, where the Calgary Flames hockey team plays, it's called the Saddle Dome, and it's where I saw my first concert. It's like my first real arena show that I ever went to. And I had some friends a few years ago who were opening for Miranda Lambert, and they were nice enough to pull me up on stage and let me play one song with them, just so I could have the experience of being up and singing on the stage. So that's like a big memory for me, for sure.
That's definitely for Miranda Lambert, and of course the cast of characters there, no doubt. It's anytime. And Calgary, I love the fact that they know how to party up there. The Calgary Stampede, I've never been to, but it's awesome to.
You need to go.
I gotta go. Yeah.
Oh, good. It's like a state fair on steroids. You can get your deep fried Oreos.
Yeah.
Petting zoo, roller coasters. Really
all the nasty stuff. Well, it's good stuff. We say that not good for you, but we're going to eat it anyway because it's just what we do as humans. It's and I tell you, the fried Oreos, some of my favorites out there have to be those fried Oreos and fried pickles. Anything fried is
both
good out there. They did some kind of in our Houston livestock show and rodeo down here. I think one year they had fried bacon. I'd never had fried bacon, but it was
Like battered and fried.
battered and fried.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
just a little bit too. I didn't eat it all. It was too rich. A good piece of chocolate cake. It was too rich, but I had about half of that. And of course, you get the anything on a stick fried is going to be good at those festivals and fairs out there too. Let me ask you this one: favorite '90s country artist? Who would it be?
Oh gosh. I mean, Shania probably would be my first answer. I have many, but we'll say Shania.
Should I? That's a safe one to go with, no doubt.
Yeah.
Favorite hobby away from music? What do you like doing?
I like taking pictures.
Really?
Photographies. Just I like anything kind of visual. But I've gotten, especially over the pandemic, I was with my parents, and they live in the country, and so there wasn't really anything to do. But I would go out and I would try to. There's a lot of wildlife just around their place, and I would try to shoot, pictures of deer and rabbits and stuff like that. So that kind of became my keep me sane activity during the pandemic.
We all had to have something, no doubt. Mine was the Netflix and the whatever series I could find next. My wife would pick one, I would pick one, and we'd just rotate. And had to stay sane somehow because it was. And I never, just like many people, I never want to go through that again. Locked up for that length of time to lose my mind, which was it was pretty bad, no doubt about it. And like I said, I know people still are going through this right now, and I mean, God bless them, and hopefully lead to a full recovery. And I always tell people I'm not here to say which way you should do, vaccine, no vaccine, but you do what's best for you, and hopefully, man, we get fully past this over the next 2 or 3 years. And it's great to see here too that Canada's starting to lift a little bit of those bans and put stuff out there, allow more artists to start touring again. That's a pretty cool feeling too.
Yeah, it's just, as soon as you start to feel like things are a little bit back to normal, it's cause for celebration, right? I think that's the thing we all dreamed about for so long. So definitely excited for that.
Well, I'm excited to see you move forward. I know you guys are working on some cool stuff. Pinto is out there across all the digital platforms with some great songs. We talked about a lot of them today, so make sure you're like Don. Go get your copy, sykamoremusic.com, and get it sent to your door. Go stream it or go purchase it on the subscription, Apple Music, or wherever you guys download or stream music out there. Always great catching up with you here on the show, and I hope we can do this again. I know we will, because I know there's more to come from you. You guys are probably already working on the next phase of songs. I know you're excited.
Yeah, we're already, thanks to the pandemic, we're waist deep in the next record. So we'll start here probably sooner than later.
I love that too. No doubt about it. Hey, thanks for coming on. Always appreciate you, and best of luck with Pinto and the new music going forward. And we're looking forward to doing this again for a fourth or fifth time, how many times it is.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. The one, the only Sykamore there, Pinto, the latest CD out there. Make sure you guys go grab it, the latest record across all the digital platforms. And we'll talk to you guys next week here on the show. Of course, we're going to track her down. Megan Patrick coming up here on the Backstage Pass in a couple of weeks. And then our good friend Chris Cagle is going to drop by along with Andy Griggs, a couple of 90s great country artists, as we get ready to promote a big show coming up September the 3rd. That's coming up in San Antonio, Texas at Pedrati's Ranch. We'll tell you more about that in conjunction with Full Circle Moments. One of our partners here on the Backstage Pass will be Chris Cagle and Andy Griggs at Pedrati's Ranch in San Antonio, Texas, September 3rd, which is coming up Labor Day weekend. We'll talk to those guys. Then a whole lot more coming up here on the show over the next few weeks. We'll see you guys soon. Have a terrific weekend. Talk to you soon.